there, it's Robin from Asheville Cotton Company. I'm going to show you how to do a little bit of troubleshooting on your baby-like sewing machine today. I've been getting a lot of emails recently about machines not working properly, and just honestly a simple cleaning and rethreading of the machine has been doing the trick for almost everybody. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. So first thing I always do is take out my bobbin and take out my top thread. So we raise our presser foot and pull our thread out, and we get down here and take out our bobbin case, and then take out our bobbin and pull out the top part here, and take out your bobbin case. So you want to get under there and clean this area really well. Most of the time, if you haven't done this in recent memory, you're going to have a giant dust kitty in there. So you want to get that out. You can clean up and around here, this area as well. And if it's really nasty, go ahead and take this part off, the silver metal piece off, and clean that as well. Usually you're going to be okay with just cleaning this though, for the most part. If you do turn your hand wheel a little bit to get in there a little better, that's fine. But we need to make sure that that needle position is in the highest position before we put the bobbin case back in. So the way we do that is we use our needle up down button. And of course this machine's a little more sophisticated than that, and it's telling me there's no needle plate cover. So it's asking me to do that first. And then now I can bring that needle to the highest position. The reason we want to do that is because if you don't have the needle in the highest position and you start putting the bobbin case in, sometimes the needle will grab a hold of this and make a big scratch in it, and that is no good. So to put this all back together, make sure you put the silver metal piece on first. Gotta have that in first. Then we're going to slide this bobbin case in underneath. So make sure, if you've been having trouble with your machine, do take a look at the bobbin case, clean it out a little bit, check the edge. Let's see if you can see this really well. Check the edge right here and make sure you don't see any really big scratches where a needle may have struck it. And also look up in here and make sure that this part is not really chewed up. Make sure that there's not a needle that has gone through this area. I've seen multiple bobbin cases where a needle has actually gone all the way through that. If you see something like that, here especially, and on this edge, and on this tip, and right in here, you can sometimes just buff it out a little bit with your thumbnail. A very fine, the buffing sponge for your nails actually works really well with this too. So you don't want like a rough sandpaper, but maybe a fine sandpaper would be okay, like an emery type cloth. You want to smooth out that edge if you see anything. Smooth this part out here if you see anything. Make sure that tip is kind of pointy still. It does usually have like a little tiny chip in it, but you don't want a big chip in it. And then if you have holes here, do try to kind of buff those out as well, if you can. Now put this all back in there with the green dot facing you. You're going to have a notch that matches this piece, and you're going to have a little white dot that matches this white dot. So just slide it in like that. And then we're going to put our cover back on. It's just down and push it back. And now there's the way we put this in, this would be backwards. We would always need to have the thread coming off the left hand side. It'll show you that right here on the machine itself. Just push this down and pull on it. I want you to pull on it really good so it gets seated in there nicely. And then you can cut it off. The bobbin case cover has a little notch here. You just put it in and snap it down, and you're good to go with that. Now, there's two major rules when we put thread on the top. I do want you to always take the thread off the machine, away from the machine, because sometimes the problem is actually where if you had the thread here, it has gotten hung behind the spool and you don't realize it, and the thread will get really, really tight and break and things like that. So just take it off the machine, put it back on. Do put your spool cap on. I forgot to bring home spool caps. So I don't have a spool cap. You want a spool cap here. You want to make 100% sure that your needle is in the highest position and 100% sure your presser foot is up. So before we do the top thread. So that's how we know it's up, is we make sure it's up. Sometimes there's a button on the machine. Some machines have a up like that. So you can do that as well. The reason we do that is because there are tension discs right here. And if you just lay the thread on top of the tension disc and start sewing, and it never goes down inside, you will not have any tension on the top thread, and the problem there is going to be you're going to have a giant wad of thread, of top thread, on the underside of your work. So be sure that you raise the presser foot before you thread. Number 2, be sure that the needle is in the highest position. The only way to really properly do that is to use the needle down, needle up button to make 100% sure it's in the highest position. The reason we do that is because there's a take-up lever in here that goes up and down the whole entire time we're sewing. You really can't see it in this machine, but it goes up and down the whole time. And if the thread does not get in there when you're threading the machine, then you will have another giant wad of thread on the underside of your work. So, needle up, foot up, always. All right, the rest of it's pretty easy. Just follow the numbers. You'll feel it kind of catch. The automatic needle threader is wonderful. You go through the silver piece here, through the number 7, cut it off, and bring this down. That is pretty much it. The way to make that not work anymore is by using too small of a needle with too fat of a thread. So we usually tell people don't go below a size 80 on the needle. You can actually do a 75 with finer embroidery thread if you want to. We just like to tell people 80s so that they stay out of trouble with that, because basically if you try to thread a really fat thread in a really tiny needle, it will jam in the hole, and so it bends the needle threader. So we don't want to do that. The other thing is forgot. Anyway, that's how you thread the needle threader. Oh, I know. The other thing is you want to be sure that the needle's in the highest position before you try to thread it. So if you weren't sure about this and you go like this with your hand wheel and you try to do this, that little wire is going to kind of come through like this and hit the needle instead of the hole. So we don't want that happening. So just make sure you're in the highest needle position before you try to use your needle threader. That'll keep you out of trouble. All right. The only other thing that I get a lot of questions about is my feed dogs didn't come back up. I put them down for embroidery, or I put them down when I did free motion quilting, and now they won't come back up. So if you put your feed dogs down, that's these little guys here, and you bring them back up and they don't come up, no problem. They actually will come up as soon as you start sewing. Trust me. So just be sure and take a stitch before you panic. Don't panic. That should do the trick. The other question I've had is my machine is going so slow and I don't know why. And typically that's because you have the slider here. This is a speed slider. Have it on too low of a setting and it can't go very fast. So typically that's what the problem is there. Sometimes I've seen foot control, the cord of the foot control wrapped around underneath the foot control and holding it, or something else like that, holding it and not allowing you to push down hard enough on the foot control. I've seen that happen too. So if this doesn't help you out, you can email me at, go to our website, and our website's ashevilleCottonCo@gmail. Nope. ashevilleCottonCompany.com. And then I hesitate to list the email here right now because in 5 years, who knows what the email may be. So go to the website. You'll see any information there about how to either call us or contact us or email us or whatever with your troubleshooting questions, and we'll be happy to help you. We've been doing a lot of repairs over email in the last 2 months during the coronavirus, and so appreciate you, and let me know if we can help you in any way. Have a great day.